نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجر حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم فاستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for coming and participate in this gathering. Inshallah, I will try to stay true to my words and I won't make this session longer than 15 minutes inshallah. From tonight, we are going to start a tafsir of Surah Al-Kahf, and every Friday we will do a portion of Surah Al-Kahf. Those of you who don't know what Surah Al-Kahf is, Surah Al-Kahf is the 18th chapter of the Quran. This year, when we all completed the month of Ramadan, I asked my brothers which surah they want me to do the tafsir this year. Because we are going to dedicate this year to one surah. We will focus on one surah, we will understand it, we will understand the tafsir of it, the translation of it, the vocabulary of it, and we will try to memorize it. But it's going to be only one surah. It's going to be only one surah, so we can remain focused and things will remain easy for us. So a lot of brothers, majority of the brothers, they were of the opinion that we should do Surah Al-Kahf. So inshallah tonight we are going to start Surah Al-Kahf. But tonight inshallah I will be sharing with you the theme of Surah Al-Kahf. What is the theme of Surah Al-Kahf? And what did Prophet ﷺ say about the blessings of Surah Al-Kahf? Surah Al-Kahf is one of the earliest surahs that was revealed to Rasulullah ﷺ. And the reason why we are focusing on Surah Al-Kahf in this year is because Surah Al-Kahf summarizes the crux of our iman, the crux of Islam, of our religion. As a matter of fact, hadith mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّهُ مِنَ الْعِتَاقِ الْأُوَّلِ, that Surah Al-Kahf, Surah Al-Maryam and Surah Al-Taha, these three surahs, Prophet ﷺ said they are of the earliest revelations. They were of the primary revelations that were given to me. So what is the theme of Surah Al-Kahf? The theme of Surah Al-Kahf is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to protect us against every single trial. This is the theme of Surah Al-Kahf. Because in Surah Al-Kahf there are many stories. And in every story there is a fitna, there is a trial. So the main theme of Surah Al-Kahf is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect us at the times of severity. That's the main theme of Surah Al-Kahf. Now if you look at Surah Al-Kahf, there are many stories, but we are inshallah going to focus on the four main stories of Surah Al-Kahf. The first main story of Surah Al-Kahf is the story of young people. MashaAllah, there are lots of young people who are sitting here, so I believe this is the most important story. The story of young people who go and seek protection in a cave. They go and seek protection in a cave, and that's where the surah is getting its name from, Al-Kahf. They were young people, they go and seek protection in the cave, and this is the story which is the fitna of religion. That people try to persecute other people because they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the same surah, in the beginning of this surah, إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدَى. They were young people and they used to believe in their Lord. And because they used to believe in their Lord, the king wanted to kill them. The king wanted to kill them because they were believers, so they go and seek protection in a cave, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected them. This is the first story inshallah that we will discuss, and this is the story of the fitna of religion. The second story is the story of two men with two gardens. The second story is the story of two men with two gardens. And this is the story of the fitna of money, the trial of money. Fitnatul mal in Arabic we say. That when money gets to our head, when it causes us to become arrogant, what is the solution here? Inshallah, we will try to discuss that solution in detail when we get there. But the solution here is to keep ourselves realizing that this world is temporary. Allah is the one who gives. I'm not the one who gives. And every single thing that I have will eventually be taken away from me. This is the story that we will learn. The second story, which is the story of 2 gardens with men, and this is the fitna of mal. This is the fitna of money. The third story, which is a very famous story, is the story of Musa alayhi salam and Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam. And this story is the fitna of knowledge. It's the trial of knowledge. If knowledge does not lead to humility, to humbleness, then that knowledge can become a source of fitna. If it is misused, if it is abused, then that knowledge in of itself can become a fitna. But Musa alayhi salatu wasalam overcame that fitna in his humbleness, in his humility. He learned from someone who was other than him. Even though he was the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was supposed to be the most knowledgeable person on the face of this earth at that time, but he learned from someone other than him, and in his humility, in his humbleness, he learned from him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated his ranks. So this is the third story, the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and Khizr, and this is the fitna of knowledge. The fourth story is the story of Zulqarnain. The story of Zulqarnain. And the story of Zulqarnain is the fitna of power. You have an authority over other people. This fitna of controlling, the trial of controlling other people. This fitna is about mulk and mulukiyya. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in this part of the story that Allah tested Zulqarnain with this fitna. Allah gave him power, Allah gave him authority, Allah gave him mulk, Allah gave him mulukiyya. And Allah tested him with that. And how did he overcome this fitna, this trial? By constantly reminding himself that Allah is the one who is Malikul Mulk. Even though I am Zulqarnain, but Allah is Dhul Jalali wal Ikram. He is the ultimate king. So this is the fourth story. So from these 4 stories, what are we learning? The first fitna is the fitna of religion. When people are persecuted because of their religion. The second fitna is the fitna of money. The third fitna is the fitna of knowledge. And the fourth fitna is the fitna of power. These 4 fitnas, inshallah, we will learn. And I believe it's very relevant to our society. It's very relevant to our times. These are the 4 fitnas. Now, very precisely, I know I only have 5 to 6 minutes. Very precisely, what are some of the blessings of Surah Al-Kahf? What did Prophet ﷺ say about Surah Al-Kahf? There are many hadiths, but inshallah I will try to summarize 3 to 4 hadiths for you, depending on the time. So the first hadith is mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari, and this companion, he's narrating that hadith. He's saying that one day I was reciting Surah Al-Kahf, and the name of this companion is Bara bin Azib, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, a very famous companion, reported in Sahih al-Bukhari. He said, one night I was reciting Surah Al-Kahf, and I noticed that my horses started getting agitated. So I looked up into the heavens, and I saw chandelier coming down. He didn't say, I'm paraphrasing it. He said different lights of different forms coming down. Basically a chandelier. So that's coming down. As I'm reciting, the lights are coming down. And when they are coming down, my horses, they start getting agitated. So I stopped reciting because my horses were getting agitated. So I stopped reciting, and the lights, when I stopped reciting, they moved up again. They went up again when I stopped reciting. So he said, I rushed and I went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I told Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam what really happened. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't worry, this is nazalat alayhimus sakina. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, he said, this was sakina nazalat, that was descending upon you. And Hafiz ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahmatullah, who is the commentator of a hadith, who is a very famous scholar, he said sakina means malaika. Sakina means angels are called sakina. So when you hear this word sakina in a hadith, it means what? It means angels. Because wherever angels go, peace comes. So we all know the surah which we call Surah Al-Qadr. Inna anzalnahu. All of you kids know that surah by heart as well, right? So Allah says, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالْرُوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. Wherever there are angels, there is salam. Wherever there are angels, there is sakina. So Prophet ﷺ said this was sakina, this was peace that was coming down. These angels were coming down to listen to Surah Al-Kahf. So this surah is so beautiful that when you recite, even the angels will come down to listen to that surah. So this is the first blessing of Surah Al-Kahf. The second blessing of Surah Al-Kahf, the second hadith, is the hadith that we have already learned, that Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّهُنَّ مِنَ الْعِتَاقِ الْأُوَلِ. These are one of the first revelations that came to me, that were given to me. This is the revelation, inshallah, that will strengthen your iman. that will fortify you in your iman. It will give you strength because it ensures you that no matter whatever happens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there to take care of you. Whatever trials and tribulations you are going through, because we live in this life, and Allah says, الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. The whole philosophy here of this life and the death is to test you. That's the whole philosophy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining. So the tests are always going to be here. But if this surah is recited properly, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you against all trials and tribulations. The third hadith, which is the hadith of Abu Darda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said that if you recite Surah Al-Kahf, not just recite, if you memorize the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf, mentioned in Sahih Muslim, Abu Darda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said that if you memorize the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf, you will be saved from Dajjal. Do you all know about Dajjal? You will be saved from Dajjal. In another hadith, which is the hadith of Nawas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, which is a very long hadith about Dajjal, again mentioned in Sahih. This is the longest hadith about Dajjal, the hadith of Nawas. Go and search it online. Just read the translation of that hadith. You will love it. The hadith of, even if you write it in English, Nawas, N-A-W-A-S, or S, Nawas. In Arabic it's Sad, but in English it's S. So just Google it, look up, inshallah you will love that hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mentioned in Sahih Muslim that one day he said that we were sitting together, me and my companions, we were sitting together, and we started talking about Dajjal. And we talked about him so much that we got scared. We thought that he's sitting in the trees, he's hiding himself in the trees outside the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, it happens when you talk about stories, and especially when you talk about something that can scare you, and you talk about them over and over again, you feel their presence, even though they are not there. You know, when you talk about jinnat, and when you talk about genies, and we talk about ghosts, and we talk about spirits, and you talk about over and over again, you feel somehow their presence, right? So I said, we talk about them so many times over and over again that we thought that they were there and they were sitting in the bushes, in the trees outside of the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we got really terrified. And he said, when Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came and he saw us, he said, "Ma sha'anukum? What is the matter with you? Why do you look so scared?" And they said, "We were talking about Dajjal, that's why we became terrified." So then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this hadith gave them all the details about Dajjal. Then what is he going to come with? What are his trials? Where he's going to come? So Prophet ﷺ gave them all the very long hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ. At the end of that hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, "If Dajjal comes and I am with you, then I will be your protector. I will be your protector and I will be your argument against Dajjal. But if he comes after me, then every Muslim is on his own. He has to protect himself. You will have no one to go to. Kullu nafsin hajiju nafsihi. Kullu muslimin hajiju nafsihi." He said every Muslim need to protect himself when he will argue against Dajjal, against the fitna of Dajjal. And then Prophet ﷺ said, if you find Dajjal after me, then recite the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf and Allah will protect you. So in the first hadith, the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf, and in this hadith, the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. And last hadith, and then inshallah I will finish. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu ta'ala anhu mentioned this hadith, Mustadrak ibn Hakim, he mentioned that hadith in his book. He said that if you recite Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, you will be given a light. A light will illuminate you, and a light will be given to you until next Friday. So this is the first blessing, that if you recite Surah Al-Kahf. Another version of the hadith says that if you recite Surah Al-Kahf on Friday and you recite it properly, the words are that if you recite Surah Al-Kahf the way it was revealed, meaning that you recite properly with good tajweed, with khushu', you're not reciting like an audio cassette. You know, you're reciting with proper tajweed, with proper khushu' and concentration and sincerity. If you recite Surah Al-Kahf on every Friday in that kind of manner, and then you go and meet Dajjal, or if then Dajjal comes and you meet Dajjal, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. The first blessing. The second blessing is that if you recite Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, a light will be given to you that will illuminate all the way to Makkah. The first hadith says that the light will be given to you until next Friday. But this hadith says that that light is so powerful that it will illuminate all the way to Makkah. And the third blessing, which is a bit da'if, which is a bit weak, but there is nothing wrong, there is no harm in telling you that hadith. Prophet ﷺ said that if you recite Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, till next Friday, all of your minor sins will be forgiven. So these are the blessings of Surah Al-Kahf, which means that Surah Al-Kahf is an important surah. It's a very special surah. We need to learn this surah, we need to understand this surah. And inshallah, in our next session, I took a lot of your time telling you about the theme and the blessings of Surah Al-Kahf. But in the next session, inshallah, I will tell you why this surah is about Dajjal. Why this surah is protection against Dajjal. Because remember, Dajjal is the worst fitna. It's the worst trial. And Allah especially mentions here that this fitna, this surah will protect you against Dajjal. So why this surah can protect us? Why not any other surah? This is the question that I will try to address inshallah in our next session. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. If you have